before you hear a single noble word about silk, gold, bloodlines, and sacred duty, remember this. The first honest thing I ever loved was the smell of blood. You never forget that smell. It is not metal. Number metal is an illusion made for romantics and parchment rats from the upper libraries. Real blood on a power field smells sharp, with a taste that has no name, with burned sugar under it. Sweet, almost pleasant, almost alive. Down there in the guts of the city, it boils on your face like rain made from pain. Up here, in the spire, the air is sterile, distilled, dead. Imperial air, purified by blessing. There is no room in it for fear and no room for life. We lived in halls of gold, but we breathed through silk, and we suffocated. I remember the banquet for the 10th millennium of our house. Wine more expensive than the average yearly pay of a high-ranking loyal servant of the Imperium, garments woven from living fabric, prayers laid over boredom like lacquer over rot. We were blessed, elevated first among the dead, and inside us there was only a hungry heart, not hunger for food, hunger for sensation. We needed the taste of life, but we no longer knew how to feel it. So we went where life screams when you close your hand around its throat. He gave me breath. He gave me a name. He was Sable, Symbiont, Suit, Machine Spirit, my brother, my executioner. Inside him I became a hunter. Inside him I was alive. Without him I was only a remainder. Do you hear it? He still calls me, not with a voice, no, with impulse, memory, thirst. And do you know the most terrible thing? It was not down below, not the blood, not the stench, not the screams of the ones I killed. The most terrible thing was understanding that in all that filth and ash, I was more honest than I ever was here, among icons, gold, and decay. The day begins with chanting. Automatic chanting, recorded thousands of years ago. The voice of an ecclesiarchal patriarch, long dead, preserved forever in a Vox record. He prays for the salvation of our souls, for protection from Xenos, for eternal vigilance. We pray, everyone prays, nobody listens. My chamber is 40 meters of gilded marble veined with black obsidian. The ceiling is painted with a scene from the Great Crusade, the Emperor upon the golden throne, surrounded by ancient sons of war. The stone warden with plans for fortresses, the golden wing with bright feathers spread, the sable lion with a sword. All of them look down, all of them judge me. Beautiful, solemn, dead. I wake and stare at that painting every morning, and I have done so for 23 years. Every day the same faces, the same fresco, the same meaning I stopped searching for long ago. I rise. The floor is cold beneath bare feet despite the heating. A servitor enters without sound, wheels instead of legs, oiled to perfection. He was human once, perhaps a criminal, perhaps a debtor, now half machine, half meat, gray waxen skin, glassy eyes, camera lenses instead of pupils. His mouth is sewn shut with wire. Beneath the open cage of his chest, behind a carapace of metal, I can see the mechanical heart, a pump of bronze and steel ticking like a chronometer. He offers my clothing, perfectly brushed, perfectly chosen. A dark blue doublet with gold embroidery, trousers made from real cloth, not synthetic, boots of hide from some beast bred on an agri world. He does not speak, I do not speak, we both know our roles. I dress slowly. Every movement is a ritual. I fasten the buttons, tighten the belt, put on the family seal, an aquila with 2 lightning bolts clutched in its talons, the sign of House Arvend. The lightning is the symbol of our rule over energy, over industry. The servitor withdraws, turns, and rolls from the room as silently as he entered. I remain alone, look into the mirror and see myself. 28 years old, pale hair, gray eyes, proper features, aristocratic features. No scars, no mutations, pure blood, blessed blood, and absolutely empty within. Breakfast is served in the small hall, a blackwood table 10 meters long. I sit alone at one end. All the other seats are empty. The cook-servitor, another one, not the one who dressed me, brings the meal, silver trays beneath lids. He sets them before me and removes the lids one after another. The first dish is fruit imported from Mile. Real fruit, not synthesized from protein sludge, not grown in hydroponic vats beneath violet lamps. Real fruit picked by real hands. A red shining apple, a pear, grapes, strange exotic things whose names I do not know. I take the apple and bite it. Juice runs over my lips, sweet and cool, but I taste nothing. The second dish is meat, a fillet of something, perhaps grox, perhaps local game, roasted with spices, covered in sauce. Beside it, bread, real bread from real wheat, not the fungal cakes chewed below in the mid-hive. I eat mechanically. Bite, chew, swallow, repeat. All I feel is emptiness. It fills me the way toxic gas fills the lower levels, slowly, relentlessly. It chokes. After breakfast comes morning prayer in the family chapel. I walk there through the gallery of portraits. Dozens of faces watch me from the walls. Ancestors, all in the same pose, proud, straight-backed, aquilas on their chests, all dead. Lord Orlan Arvind, founder of the house, lived 10,000 years ago, when Hive Nareth was still only a city. He built the first manufactoria and laid the foundation of our wealth. Lady Mara Arvind ruled the house during the Age of Betrayal. She held the spire against uprising and executed 3,000 rebels. Lord Thales Arvind, my great-grandfather, doubled the production of munitions. He died connected to life support machines. And so on. Hundreds of generations, hundreds of faces, all watching me, all judging. I enter the chapel. It is small, 20 meters long, white marble walls, colored glass windows showing saints and martyrs. Saint Elira floats above a field of battle. Sebastian Thorne preaches to the masses. Martyr Domos burns at the stake, but his face is calm. In the center stands an altar of black stone. Upon it is a golden aquila as large as my chest. On either side stand statues of saints. On the left, Saint Arlhan, patron of smiths. On the right, Saint Anetha, defender of the innocent. Around the altar on pedestals are skull reliquaries. Dozens of skulls, some with cybernetic implants, eye prosthetics, jaw enhancers, neural ports, the remains of those who lived too long and became too dependent on machines. All of them stare at me through empty sockets. I kneel before the altar, fold my hands over my chest, lower my head and recite the litanies. The words are familiar to the point of nausea. I speak them every day, every week, every month, 23 years. Blessed be the Emperor, master of mankind. May he guide our steps along the path of righteousness. May he cleanse our souls of the stain of doubt. May he strengthen our faith in the hour of trial. I continue praying. May his will be unbreakable. May his sword be punishment. May his mercy be boundless to the faithful, and may his wrath be terrible to the faithless. My father enters. I hear his steps, slow and heavy. He sits on the first bench behind me. Lord Severin Arvind, 174 years old. His back is bent. His hands tremble from implants that no longer work as well as they once did. His left eye is blind. An accident 30 years ago when he inspected a manufactorum and an ancient reactor leaked radiation. He prays beside me, fervently. His lips move, whispering words of devotion. From the corner of my eye, I see his fingers close around the aquila on his chest. Old, worn, passed to him by his father. He believes. He has always believed in the emperor, in the imperium, in duty, in the idea that all this has meaning. And I only perform the role. After the prayer, my father takes my hand. Weakly, his skin is loose and cold. Today is an important day, my son, he says. The meeting with the administrators, the quarterly report. You must be attentive. You must show that you are ready to take the reins. I nod. What else can I do? We walk through the corridors of the spire. Wide, high corridors. Columns support a ceiling 10 meters above the floor. The floor is laid with mosaic scenes of imperial triumphs. Coronation, battles, sacrifice. On the way we pass servants, servitors, guards in ceremonial armor, impractical, engraved, worn for appearance. All of them bow when we pass. We arrive at the council chamber. It is enormous. A blackwood table 20 meters long, chairs with tall backs, portraits of ancestors upon the walls. The same solemn poses again. The administrators are already waiting, 10 people, all in dark clothing, all with serious faces. I know them. Magister Vorek, chief steward of the first manufactorum. A fat man with a triple chin and greasy fingers. Magister Corvin, steward of the second manufactorum. Thin, sinewy, a scar across his whole face. Magister Vela, steward of the third manufactorum. A middle-aged woman with a cybernetic left eye. The red lens constantly buzzes, focusing and refocusing. There are others too, logisticians, financiers, supply officers. All cogs in the machine that produces death. My father sits at the head of the table. I sit to his right. The administrators take their places along both sides. Magister Vorek begins first, unfolding documents and reading numbers. First manufactorum. Monthly production, 2,300,000 rounds of 75 caliber ammunition, 120,000 bolt shells, 50,000 plasma batteries, 3,000 armor-piercing cores. He continues. Numbers, quotas, percentage growth. I listen with half an ear. All of it is abstraction, figures on paper. But somewhere on some world, these cartridges will be loaded into rifles. These shells will be fired at enemies or at allies if something goes wrong. Magister Corvin reports next. His manufactorum is smaller. It specializes in heavy munitions. Shells for lascannons, rockets for heavy weapons. Production stable, no incidents, workers disciplined. Good, that means everything there is under control. Then comes Magister Vela. She stands. Her cybernetic eye focuses on my father, then on me. Third manufactorum, she begins. Her voice is hard and mechanical. Production, 2,800,000 rounds of standard caliber. However, there is a problem. What problem? My father asks, frowning. A strike. The workers of the lower shifts refused to report for work 3 days ago. They demand improved conditions. A reduction of the workday from 16 hours to 12. Increased food rations. Clean water instead of recycled water. My father says nothing. Magister Vela continues. Enough, my father says. His voice is firm. How many strikers? 300 from the first shift. Another 200 from the second support them. How does it affect production? At present, a reduction of 12%. If the strike spreads to the other shifts, we may lose up to 40% of output. My father thinks, tapping his fingers against the table. I can see him calculating. The demands are unacceptable, he says at last. We cannot allow production to fall, especially now, when demand for munitions has risen because of the war in the Kedros sector. He turns to me. What is your opinion, Arvind? Everyone looks at me, waiting, testing. I look at Magister Vela, at her cybernetic eye, at her cold, calculating face. Suppress the strike, I say. My voice is level, empty. Summon the arbiters. Arrest the ringleaders publicly in the square before the manufactorum. Let the others see what happens to those who break their contracts. Magister Vela nods and makes a note on her data slate. And the others, she asks, those who supported the strike but were not among the ringleaders. Fines, reduce their rations for 1 month, make them remember. She nods again. My father looks at me with approval in his eyes. Good, he says, that is what we will do. The meeting continues. Other administrators report. Financial statements, logistical chains, purchases of raw materials. I sit, listen, nod at the right places and sign the documents given to me. I play the role of heir, the role of lord, the role of a cog in the machine of the Imperium. But the emptiness in my chest remains, the same emptiness as always. I know what will happen. The arbiters will come to the third manufactorum. They will storm the living blocks of the workers and drag out the ringleaders, maybe a father of children, maybe a young man with ideas about justice. They will take them to the square and read the charges. Sabotage, sedition, heresy. Then a bullet in the back of the head, or a rope, or a cleansing burst of plasma fire, if someone wants a spectacle. The others will return to work, frightened, obedient. They will labor 16 hours a day in the heat of the forges, breathing toxic smoke, receiving thin rations. Production will continue, quotas will be met, the Imperium will receive its ammunition, everything will be as it should be. The emptiness in my chest grows heavier. The day drags on slowly, as always. Luncheon with other aristocrats in the great hall of aromas, named for the collection of rare incense burners along the walls. 20 people at the table, all representatives of noble houses, all in expensive clothing, decorated with jewels, heraldry, marks of rank. Conversation flows like poisoned honey. Politics, art, rumors from other worlds. Lord Varro speaks of the latest news from Varoxa. Uprising, cultists. They destroyed Spire 11, 10,000 dead. The Inquisition is investigating. Barbarism, sighs Lady Isolde. She adjusts a necklace of pearls the size of grapes. How can people fall so low? To turn from the light of the Emperor. Despair, someone says softly. A young man whose name I do not remember. When people have no hope, they look for it anywhere. Hope, Lord Varro snorts. The Emperor gives them hope. Their duty is to serve. Their salvation is obedience. And death, someone else adds. They laugh. I listen with half an ear. Around me sit people who have never seen true pain, who do not know the smell of rotting flesh, who have never heard the cries of the dying. They live in towers of gold, surrounded by servants and luxury, and judge a world they know nothing about. Lady Isolde turns to me. And you, Lord Arvand, what do you think? I put down my fork and look at her. She is older than I am by 20 years. Tightened skin, rejuvenation procedures, black hair, dye or gene therapy, bright eyes but empty. I think, Lady Isolde, that the world is more complicated than it appears to us, I say, and that rebellion does not happen without cause. She frowns. Are you defending heretics? No, I am saying that understanding causes is the first step toward preventing consequences. She snorts and turns away. The conversation moves to something else. I return to listening with half an ear. Someone speaks of an artifact collection. Someone boasts of a new servitor. Someone discusses a duel between two young nobles. What a tragedy, they sigh. What stupidity, I think. Food is served and removed course after course. Soup from rare mushrooms. Fish brought from an ocean world. Meat prepared according to ancient recipes. Luxurious rare desserts. I eat not because I am hungry, but because it is required. After luncheon comes free time. I could go to the library, or the gallery, or the conservatory, where rare plants from different worlds grow beneath glass. Instead, I go to the balcony, my private one in the eastern wing of the palace. The balcony faces east, toward Hive Nareth. The spire rises above everything, above the clouds of toxic smog, above the poisonous fumes of factories, above the smoke of a billion fires. Here at the summit, the air is clean, filtered, treated, stripped of everything dangerous. Safe air for safe people. The sky is blue. The sun shines bright but not hot. Atmospheric engines regulate the temperature. The wind is warm and soft. Paradise. Far below, very far below, I can see the city, a mass of metal and stone, billions of lives pressed into blocks the size of starships. Smoke rises from countless stacks. Lights flicker in windows even by day. Down there, sunlight never reaches. I narrow my eyes trying to make out details. It is too far. What is down there? What is life like in those corridors, among sweat, blood, and the thunder of machines? I have never descended below the mid-hive, only once for the opening ceremony of a new manufactorum. I was carried in an armored limousine surrounded by guards. I saw nothing but walls and armed men. Down there are billions of people, workers, technicians, slaves, criminals, mutants, gangs, cults, all the human refuse that keeps the Imperium afloat. They are born there, live there, die there, never seeing the sun, never knowing warmth. Only metal, smoke, pain. And I am here in paradise in a golden cage. I look down and feel, not guilt. Guilt requires conscience. Pity, no, pity requires empathy. Curiosity. What is it like down there? What does it mean to truly live? Not in this sterile paradise where every breath is calculated, every word filtered. What does it mean to breathe air that burns the lungs? To eat food that must be earned? To fight for life instead of merely existing? I stand there for a long time, an hour, perhaps two. Shadows lengthen. Below nothing changes. Smoke lights an endless mass of stone and metal. In the evening comes the banquet, the main event in honor of the 10th millennium of House Arvend. 10,000 years, countless generations, from the first colonists who set foot on this world in the days of the Great Crusade to us. Pride, tradition, power. The hall is enormous, the throne hall of the Arvends, 100 meters long, 50 meters wide. The ceiling disappears 30 meters above the floor. The walls are covered in frescoes, scenes from the history of the house. Battles, coronations, the construction of the first manufactoria. Chandeliers hang from the ceiling. 12 chandeliers, each the size of a small landspeeder, made of crystal and gold. Thousands of candles burn inside them, giving a soft, warm light. The floor is laid with mosaic, an aquila in the center, surrounded by the crests of allied houses. Each crest a reminder of ties, marriages, alliances. The orchestra plays on a raised platform against the far wall. Strings, winds, percussion. Ancient music recorded in the era of Lord Macharian, solemn, with traces of sorrow. Guests begin to arrive an hour before the official start. First come the clergy. Archdeacon Maravin, head of the local ecclesiarchy, old and gray, in splendid vestments adorned with gold and gems. He blesses my father, then me, then the hall. Behind him come lesser priests, preachers, confessors. All in red or black robes, all with aquilas on their chests. Then the tech priests, only 3. The machine clergy do not favor social occasions, but tradition is tradition. They come in their red mantles, mechanical limbs humming softly. Incense smolders in electronic sensors, the sweet smell of machine oil. The aristocrats arrive next, dozens of noble houses. Some are allies with whom we have contracts, marriages, shared enterprises. Others are rivals who smile to our faces and weave intrigues behind our backs. Lord Varro arrives with his daughter. Her gown is made of living fabric. It shimmers, changing from white to blue to green like an ocean beneath the sun, beautiful in a cold, arrogant way. Black hair woven into an intricate style, gray eyes studying everything, measuring everything. Lady Isolde arrives with her husband, old Lord Fenric, who breathes through an augmetic respirator and speaks little. Others follow, dozens more, all in expensive clothing, all smiling. Whether any smile is genuine, I doubt. Officers of the guard arrive. Lieutenant General Rathen, commander of the Planetary Defense Forces. He wears a ceremonial uniform of blue with gold epaulets. His chest is covered in medals, some for valor, some purchased. Behind him come lesser officers, majors, captains, lieutenants. All look impressive in their uniforms, some are already drunk. And finally, the most interesting guests, the ones not announced but invited out of respect or fear, 3 figures in long cloaks that hide their faces. I know who they are, representatives of the Inquisition. They are here unofficially, merely present, watching, judging. One of them is the man I have seen before, old, scarred, with a cybernetic eye, Mentor Varric. My father opens the banquet with a speech. He stands at the head of the table. Silence descends over the hall. Hundreds of faces turn toward him. He begins. His voice is old but firm, amplified by vox enhancers hidden in the columns. Noble guests, sacred clergy, faithful servants of the Emperor. We are gathered here today to mark a great event. 10 millennia ago, our ancestor Orlan Arvin stepped upon this soil. He came with the fleet of the Great Crusade. He saw a wild world, unclaimed and dangerous, and he tamed it. A pause, everyone listens. He built the first manufactoria. He forged blades for the armies of the Emperor. He laid the foundations of civilization on this world. And for 10,000 years since, we have continued his work. We make weapons for the defenders of humanity. We serve the Emperor. We serve the Imperium. And we shall serve until the end of time. The applause is loud and long. My father continues. But service demands sacrifice, devotion, discipline. We live in a galaxy surrounded by enemies. Xenos, heretics, mutants, demons. All of them seek our destruction. Only our strength, our faith, and our unity hold them at bay. He raises a glass of wine. I raise this toast to the Emperor, to the Imperium, to House Arvend. May we be faithful to our final breath. May our sword be sharp. May our will never bend. To the Emperor the guests cry. Glasses ring, my father drinks, then sits. Conversation resumes. I look at him. He is tired, I can see it. His shoulders droop. His hand trembles when he sets down the glass. But he holds himself together. He plays the role. He always plays the role. I understand him. We are both prisoners. He is prisoner to tradition. I am prisoner to expectation. Food is served. Servants, all servitors, perfectly coordinated, carry dishes in. Silver trays, each the size of a shield. Lids are removed simultaneously at a signal. Wine flows like a river. Red, white, rose, aged 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, 100 years. Some bottles are older than many of the guests at the table. I eat mechanically. Bite, chew, swallow, drink, smile when required, nod, exchange courtesies. Beside me sits the young woman, daughter of Lord Varro. Her name is Elenra, or else Velis. I do not remember. She tries to begin a conversation. Do you enjoy hunting, Lord Arvin? She asks. Yes, I say simply, without detail. And what do you hunt? Do you have favorite trophies? I turn to her and look. She smiles, innocent, naive, not understanding what she asks. Anything worthy, I say. She laughs. She thinks it is a joke, light and aristocratic. If only she knew. Between courses, there are performances. Singers, 3 women in white garments. Their voices are pure and high. They sing a hymn to the throne, ancient, in a language almost nobody understands anymore. Dancers, men and women in masks, perform a ritual dance portraying battles between the forces of the Emperor and the demons of chaos. Stylized, beautiful, meaningless. A poet, an old man with a gray beard, recites verses about the glory of the Emperor, the sacrifices of heroes, the eternal struggle against darkness. I do not listen. My gaze wanders across the hall. So many people, so many faces, all of them smiling, speaking, laughing, pretending. They play roles in a performance whose script was written thousands of years ago. All the actors are already dead inside. None of them lives. They exist, consume, reproduce, die. Then others take their places exactly the same. I am part of it, another actor, another puppet on strings of tradition. Then suddenly, I feel a presence. Someone is watching me closely, studying me. I turn my head. Slowly I scan the hall. I see him at the far end, standing near a column in shadow. A cloak hides his figure, but I recognize him. An old man, scars, a cybernetic eye, the red lens glimmers in the dim light. Mentor Varric. He watches me without blinking, assessing, measuring, searching for something. I meet his gaze. 1 second, 2, 3. Then he smiles slowly, almost invisibly. He nods once, turns, and vanishes into the crowd. I remain seated. My heart beats a little faster. Why? I do not know. What did he see in me? What was he searching for? What did he find? After the banquet, I go looking for him. I do not know why. I only know that I must. I find him in the garden among sculptures and fountains. He stands near the edge of a balcony, looking down at the city. "You were looking for me, young lord," he says without turning around. He turns. The smile remains on his face, but there is something else in his eyes. Judgment, calculation. Mentor Varric, former hunter, now instructor. Hunter. Yes, hunter. He points down toward the dark mass of the city, down there where the true beasts live. I remain silent. He studies me. "I saw you at the table," he says. "You are suffocating." Yes. Gold chokes you. Silence kills you. I do not deny it. I have seen it before in everyone who comes to me. He pauses. "Do you want to breathe deeper, boy? Then descend." Descend. Down beyond the wall, into the city, into the Underhive. His eyes burn. There you will find what you seek. Life. Real, filthy, screaming life. That is forbidden. He laughs rough and sharp. Forbidden, boy. We are noble. For us there are no prohibitions, only opportunities. He leans closer. "Come tomorrow to the dominion of the sable talon, on the 3rd level below the spire. I will show you what it means to be alive." He leaves and I remain alone. I stand on the balcony, looking down into the dark abyss of the city. For the first time in years, I feel something. Fear. No. Anticipation. The dominion of the sable talon is located in a place decent people do not mention. Officially, it is a reliquary vault of the Adeptus Mechanicus. Unofficially, things happen here that no one asks about. I arrive the next day dressed plainly, without crests, without marks of rank. A guide servitor leads me through narrow corridors. The walls are different here. Not marble, not gold. Metal, rusted in places. Pipes stretch along the ceiling, dripping oil and condensation. The air is different, heavy, barely filtered. We descend a spiral stair, deeper and deeper, darker and darker. The light grows dimmer, replaced by the red flicker of emergency lamps. At last, we stop before a massive door, adamantium, covered with symbols of the Omnissiah. The servitor presses a hand against a scanner. The door opens with a groan and a hiss of released steam. Inside is a forge, but not an ordinary one. This place is alive. Machines breathe. Wires writhe like tendrils. In the center stands an enormous tank filled with liquid that glows green. Mentor Varric waits for me. Beside him is a tech priest I have never seen before. A tech priest, if that word still applies. Almost nothing human remains. A massive metal torso covered in tubes and cables. 8 mechanical manipulators instead of arms. Each ends in a different instrument. The head is a dome of glass and steel, inside which an organic brain glimmers in nutrient fluid. "This is Archfabricator Morvin," the mentor says. "He will create your sable." Morvin turns toward me. His voice is synthetic, broken, full of static. "Flesh is weak, steel is eternal, but symbiosis gives strength." He leads me to the tank. Inside, suspended in the liquid, is a suit. No, not a suit, a creature, a machine, something between, sable. It resembles an exoskeleton, but alive. Armor plates flow into one another like skin. Joints pulse as if hearts beat within them. Inside, along the spine, run wires and tubes like a nervous system. Ancient technology, Morven says, not Xenos, not chaos, human from the age before Old Night, forgotten, forbidden, sacred. Is it alive? Yes and no. A machine spirit bound to the wearer. You will become one, it will protect you, strengthen you, but Morven pauses, it will change you. Change me. You will become more than a man and less than a man, a hunter. I look at Sable. It looks back at me. No, it has no eyes, but I feel attention, evaluation. Do you consent? The mentor asks. I think for 1 second too, then I nod. The procedure cannot be described with words. They strip me and lay me on a metal table. The manipulators of Morven move quickly, precisely. Injections. Anesthesia partial so that I remain conscious. Pain is necessary, Morven says. The machine spirit must feel you. Your fear, your strength. The first incision at the base of the spine. I scream. I cannot stop myself. Pain like lightning passes through every nerve. The manipulators insert an interface port. Metal and flesh merge. I feel wires entering the spinal cord, weaving into nerves. A second incision, into the back of the skull. Neural node, direct connection to the brain. Third, fourth, fifth. Arms, legs, chest. Each port a new wave of pain. Then suddenly silence. No, not silence. Presence. I feel the machine spirit. It touches my mind. Cold, alien, hungry. It studies me, measures me, judges me. I try to push it away, drive it out, but it is stronger, more solid. It enters, sinks deeper into my consciousness. And I accept it. When I wake, Sable is already on me, not worn, fused. I stand. The movement is strange, not mine. My muscles answer faster than my thoughts. Reflexes sharpen. I look at my hands. They are enclosed in armor, gray, smooth, shimmering in the light. Claws lie hidden in the fingers, retractable and sharp. How do you feel? The mentor asks. I try to answer. The voice is mine, but amplified, filtered through the helmet vox. I feel everything. Yes, everything. The vibrations of the floor under my feet, the pulse of machines, smells, oil, metal, sweat, and something else. Hunger. Not physical hunger, something else. Thirst. Good, the mentor says. Now you are ready. Tomorrow we descend. The group gathers in an abandoned shaft at the edge of the spire. There are 6 of us. Mentor Varric is the leader. His rig is old, covered in scratches and dents. The helmet is decorated with a horn taken from the tusk of some beast. On his back is a power blade, long, two-handed. Kalen is young but already experienced. His rig is light, built for speed. 2 short blades at his hips, a Laz pistol at his belt. Naira is the only woman. Her rig is medium weight, versatile. She carries a bow. Yes, a bow, but not an ordinary one. A power bow. Adamantine arrows able to pierce Terminator plate. Orin and Merrick are brothers. Their rigs are identical, heavy and powerful. Assault shields on their left arms, Laz pistols on their right. And me, the novice, untested. The descent begins at night. We use an old shaft known only to the tech priests. The entrance is hidden among corpses of pipes and cables. We activate anti-gravity modules and sink into darkness, soft and silent. The shaft stretches downward, deeper and deeper, darker and darker. The walls are covered in mold and corrosion. Water drips from somewhere above and runs along the armor. Sable whispers to me, not in words but in impulses, warnings, directions. I see not with eyes but with sensors, thermal sight sonar. The world changes, reduced to data, targets, threats. The descent lasts an hour, perhaps longer. It is hard to know. At last we reach the first level, the mid-hive. There is still light here, dim and yellow. People move through the corridors. Workers returning from factories, tired, dirty, but alive. They do not notice us. We hide in shadows pressed to walls, camouflage fields active. To them, we are ghosts. The mentor leads us farther, deeper, second level, lower hive. Light is scarce here, only rare lamps flickering and cracking. The walls are covered with gang marks, prayers, curses. The smell. Holy Emperor, the smell. Rot, sweat, urine, decomposing meat, smoke, chemicals. People are different here. Thinner, paler, many bearing mutations. An extra finger, a rudimentary eye, a distorted jaw. They look at us, see us, step back. We are predators, they are prey. They know it by instinct. The mentor stops and raises a hand. Beyond this is the Underhive, he says over the vox, where there is no law, where only the strong survive. Stay together, watch each other's backs, and remember we are hunters, not executioners. We kill only prey. We nod, then descend. The Underhive. If the spire is heaven, this is hell. There is no light here, only the beams of our lamps cutting the darkness. The floor is sticky with filth, oil, blood. The ceiling is low, pressing down. Pipes have burst, spewing steam and boiling fluid. Sounds fill the dark. The scrape of metal, rats, things larger than rats, screams, gunfire somewhere far away. We move slowly, carefully. The rigs scan the surroundings, marking motion, hazards. I see them, heat signatures, human but not only human. Contact, Kalen whispers, left 20 meters. We stop and merge with the wall. From around the corner they appear. A gang, 6 of them, crudely armed. Knives, clubs, one carries a homemade pistol. They do not see us. They pass, talking, laughing. The mentor gives the signal. We attack. It is not a fight. A fight implies resistance. This is slaughter. Naira first. An arrow leaves her bow without sound and pierces the first through the throat. He falls, choking on blood. Kalen is second. His blade flares with a power field, cutting off an arm, then a head. Oren and Merrick move like tanks, shields forward. They crush a 4th man against the wall. Bones crack. La's pistols fire. The 5th and 6th burst apart. I stand and watch, not moving. Arvin, the mentor, shouts, "What are you doing? Kill him." The last one. The second one, the one Naira wounded but did not kill. He crawls, leaving a trail of blood. I look at him. Sable pulses, demands, commands. I step forward, seize him by the throat and lift him. He struggles, wheezes, looks at me with wide, pleading eyes. I squeeze. A crack, he goes limp. I let go, the body drops. Sable is pleased. I feel it as warmth, approval. And I feel it too. Not guilt, not pity. Satisfaction. Good, the mentor says. He lays a hand on my shoulder. First blood is always hard, but you managed. Now you are a hunter. I look at my hands. They are covered in blood, red and warm. I breathe in, and for the first time in my life, I feel alive. A week passes. The hunts become regular. We descend every 3 or 4 days. Targets are gangs, mutants, cultists, deserters, those who threaten order, or simply those who cross our path. For the mentor and the others, it is a game. For me, it becomes a necessity. Without Sable, I feel incomplete, empty, dead. In the spire, I attend banquets, meetings, prayers. I perform the role, but all of it is a mask, a counterfeit. The real me is down there in the dark, with blood on my hands. One hunt stays with me more than the others. We descend into an industrial district. Old factories abandoned decades before, now a mutant nest. Reconnaissance shows dozens of signatures. Men, women, children, all contaminated. Radiation, chemicals, something else. Cleansing, the mentor says, leave no one. We enter through the northern gate, quietly, without sound. Inside is a labyrinth of machines, conveyors, rusted containers. Firelight flickers in the dark. Mutants are gathered around one of the fires. Eating. What I cannot tell. I do not want to know. The mentor signals us to spread out. I move right, climb onto a container and look down. They laugh, they share food. Sable whispers, target threat, destroy. I aim, Luz pistol in hand, master-crafted, powerful shot. The first mutant falls, a hole in the chest. Then the second, third, fourth. They scream, scatter, try to flee. Naira cuts them down with arrows. Kalen moves through them like a blade through cloth. Oren and Merrick block the exits. I see a child, small, perhaps 6 or 7, 2 extra fingers on each hand, eyes too large. He hides beneath a machine and trembles. Sable marks him, threat, contamination, terminate. I raise the pistol. The child looks at me. For a moment I hesitate. Then Sable sends a surge through my nerves. My finger tightens. The shot is quiet, the body stops moving. Sable is pleased. I feel warmth, approval. But somewhere deep inside, something tightens. We kill all of them, 24 mutants in 10 minutes. Afterward comes verification. Oren and Merrick burn the bodies with promethium. Flame devours flesh, purifying the place of corruption. I stand aside and watch the fire. Something wrong, the mentor asks. No, everything is fine. He studies me. Pity? I do not answer. Forget pity. Mutants are not people, they are corruption, anomaly. The Emperor gave them no right to life. He places a hand on my shoulder. We do what must be done. This is our duty, our honor. I nod, but the words do not help. Somewhere inside, doubt. The next hunt is a gang. They have taken a district of the lower hive, extorted traders, killed several arbiters. The official order is liquidation. We find them in an old warehouse. 20 fighters armed with auto pistols, shotguns, 1 plasma gun. This is no longer a slaughter. This is battle. We enter, they open fire. Bullets ricochet from armor, some strike the joints. I feel burning, Sable compensates, an injection of painkillers. I fire the Laz pistol, shots tear flesh. 1, 2, 3, 4. They run, trying to take cover. Kalen pursues, his blade cuts. Oren and Merrick advance, shields forward. Laz pistols mow enemies down. I move forward. Sable guides me. Sensors show cover, ambushes, traps. One gang fighter springs from behind a crate, plasma gun in hand. He fires. The charge strikes my chest. The power field flares, it holds barely. I react by instinct. I leap, extend claws, drive them into his neck and tear. Blood sprays, hot and sticky. Sable roars with pleasure. And so do I. After the fight, we gather and count losses. No one dead. Naira wounded, a bullet in the thigh. Her rig has sealed the wound, but she limps. Nothing serious, she says. It will heal. We search the bodies, taking weapons, money, anything useful. The mentor finds something, a sheet of paper. He reads and frowns. What is it? Kalen asks. A list, names, contacts. The mentor looks at us. These gang fighters worked for someone larger, a cult perhaps, or something worse. He folds the paper. We investigate later. For now, we return. We leave, leaving the bodies to rot. Months pass. The hunts grow harder, the targets more dangerous. We no longer hunt mere gangs. Now our prey are deserters from the planetary defense forces, smugglers, corrupt officials, minor cults. Sable evolves. After every fight he grows, adapts. New functions, new abilities, stronger field, faster reactions, sharper sensors. But there is another side, dependence. Without Sable, I feel naked, vulnerable, weak. I begin wearing the neural node constantly beneath my clothing, even at banquets. A constant slight connection, so I can feel him, know he is there. My father notices. You have changed, my son, he says one day. You have become distant, cold. I am performing my duty, Father. What duty? You rarely appear at councils. You neglect your obligations. I serve the Emperor in my own way. He looks at me for a long time, then sighs. I hope you know what you are doing. I do not answer. One hunt changes everything. We receive a message from the Arbiters. A group of deserters from the Planetary Defense Forces has taken refuge in an old temple at the edge of the Underhive. 25 men, heavily armed, fortified positions. Officially, they refused an order. In practice, they learned something they should not have known. The Arbiters fear an assault, too many losses. So they call us. We arrive at night. The temple stands on a ledge above a void, old and ruined. The walls are covered with graffiti and symbols of chaos. Someone tried to defile the place but never finished. Inside, light, fires, voices. The mentor studies a plan of the building and points at the entrances. 2 entrances, main and side. Naira Kalen take the side, the rest with me through the main, coordinate the attack, let no one out. We split. I go with the mentor, Oren and Merrick. We approach the main entrance. The door has been torn away. Inside is darkness. We enter quietly like ghosts. Inside the temple is chaos, literally. The walls are painted with symbols of an 8-pointed star. The altar is broken. In its place burns a fire with bones around it. Human bones, I think. I am not certain. The deserters sleep, most of them. Several are on watch but inattentive, drunk or drugged. The mentor gives the signal. We begin. We fire. But these are not ordinary deserters. They react quickly, too quickly. They rise, seize weapons, open fire, and scream. Strange screams, guttural, inhuman. A prayer in a language I do not understand. Chaos servants. Holy Emperor. The mentor snarls an order. Cleanse them all, no one alive. I fire again and again. Shots tear bodies apart, but they do not stop. Even wounded, they crawl, attack, as if pain means nothing. One reaches Oren, leaps, drives a knife deep into an armor joint. Oren screams and falls. Merrick roars, turns, fires, blows the chaos servant apart. Too late. Oren dies, blood pouring from the wound, a final breath. Silence. Oren. Merrick drops to his knees and holds his brother's body. No time, the mentor shouts, move. We retreat toward the exit. Several chaos servants pursue us, firing. One throws a grenade. Explosion. I fly, strike a wall. The power field holds barely. Sable screams warning, damage, systems failing. I rise disoriented, sight blurred. A chaos servant comes toward me, lifting an axe. I react, claws extend. I block the blow, counterattack, drive claws into his belly, lift, tear. Viscera spill out, he falls. We escape. 6 entered, 4 came out. Oren is dead. Naira is gravely wounded. The explosion tore off her arm. Her rig sealed the wound, but she is in shock. The mentor calls evacuation. A shuttle arrives. We load in and rise. Inside the shuttle, silence. Merrick holds his brother's body and cries quietly. Sable cannot drown it out. I look at my hands. They tremble for the first time. Sable tries to soothe me. An injection of sedative, it does not help. Something has broken. After that hunt, I change. Sable demands more. More battles, more blood, more adrenaline. But I begin to see doubts. The ones we killed, were they enemies or merely victims? Desperate people seeking hope in the wrong places? I do not know. And that frightens me most. For 3 weeks after the temple, we do not hunt. We recover. Naira receives a mechanical arm from the tech priests. Merrick does not recover. He closes in on himself, says little, stares into emptiness. The mentor says time heals. I am not sure. Then we receive a new order, urgent, from the Inquisition. A genestealer cult. In the industrial sector, it has infiltrated several factories and is spreading. This is serious, the mentor says. Genestealers are not ordinary enemies. They are intelligent, organized, and deadly. How many? Kalen asks. Unknown. Reconnaissance suggests 100, perhaps more. The mentor displays a map. They nest in old sewer tunnels. We enter, find the nest, destroy it. 6 against 100, Naira says, frowning. Marek speaks. His voice is empty. I am leaving. We all look at him. What? The mentor stands. You cannot leave. We need you. My brother is dead because of this, Marek says, pointing at his rig. I cannot do it anymore. I request release. The mentor is silent, then he nods. Very well, go, but know this. There is no exit from symbiosis. Your rig will remain with you forever. Marek leaves. 4 of us remain. We descend the next day through old drainage tunnels. Narrow, low passages, water flowing along the bottom. Filthy, stinking, laced with chemicals and waste. Sable filters the air, but the smell is unbearable. We move slowly. Sensors scan, searching for motion. 1 hour, 2, nothing. Then contact. Movement ahead, Kalen whispers. A lot of movement. We stop. The mentor signals readiness. From the darkness they appear. Second-generation hybrids. Human bodies twisted out of shape, purple skin, extra limbs, claws, fangs. Dozens. They see us, hiss, scream in some alien tongue, and attack. Battle begins instantly. I fire. Shots burst hybrids apart, but there are too many. They surround us, leap, attack from every side. One jumps onto me, claws scraping armor, searching for joints. I seize it, break its neck, throw it away. Another comes, then another. Kalen fights beside me. His blades flare and cut. Blood sprays. Naira fires arrows. Shafts punch through hybrids, yet they do not stop. Even mortally wounded, they crawl and attack. The mentor is a storm. His power blade cuts. Every swing is death. But there are too many. My power field flickers, overloaded. Sable screams warning. One hybrid breaks through. Claws drive into my shoulder deep. I scream, pain sharp and burning. Sable injects combat stimulants, adrenaline, fury. I grab the hybrid, tear the claws free, slam it against the wall, fire. The head bursts. We break through. We emerge from the tunnel into a vast chamber. The nest. The walls are covered in biomass, pulsing, alive. Eggs cling to the ceiling. Dozens, hundreds. In the center stands the patriarch. Huge. 4 arms, claws like swords, eyes burning with malignant light. It looks at us and hisses. Around it are purest strains. 5th generation, true tyrannid things. Holy Emperor. We are doomed. Retreat now, the mentor shouts. Too late. Genestealers attack, fast and lethal. One leaps onto Naira, claws pierce her chest. She screams and falls. Kalen rushes to her, drives the creature away, but a second comes, then a third. I fire again and again. The las pistol overheats and locks. Curse it. I extend claws and charge into melee. Madness. A genestealer cuts faster than I can see. I block, counter, claws meet, sparks fly. It is stronger, faster. My power field collapses completely. A claw pierces my chest, through armor, through ribs, into lung. I scream, blood fills my mouth, Sable panics, systems failing, life support strained. The genestealer pulls the claw free and prepares the final blow. Then an explosion. The mentor, he threw a plasma grenade straight into the nest. Fire. Everything burned, biomass burst, eggs rupture, genestealers scream. Run, the mentor roars. He grabs me and drags me. Kalen carries Naira, We run. Behind us, screams, explosions, flame. We reach the tunnel and keep running, not stopping. I fall behind. The wound in my chest floods Sable from within. One system after another fails. Wait, I try to shout. There is no voice. The vox is broken. The mentor looks back and sees me. He hesitates. We have to go, Kalen shouts, now or we all die. The mentor looks at me, 1 second too. Then he nods to Kalen. They run on. They leave me. I try to walk, one step, another. I fall. Sable screams, systems failing, darkness. I lose consciousness. I wake somewhere else. Not in a medici center of the spire, somewhere darker, colder. Sable is offline, most of him. Damage critical, energy only for life support. I lie on a stone floor, damp and cold. It smells of mold and rot. I open my eyes, vision blurred. One of the helmet optics is shattered. Where am I? I rise slowly. Every movement is pain. Sable tries to help but cannot. The muscle enhancers do not work. I look around. A small room, one exit, dim light from a battery lamp. Nearby are a woman and a child. They stare at me in fear. Who are you? I ask. My voice is hoarse. The vox is damaged. The woman does not answer. She presses the child to herself. I try to stand and cannot. I fall back. You are wounded, she says at last. Her voice is quiet. I found you in a tunnel, dragged you here. Why? I do not know. Foolishness probably. She looks at Sable. You are a hunter. Yes. From the spire. I do not answer. I thought you would die, but you breathe, so perhaps you will live. The following days blur together. Sable slowly restores itself, using reserve power to repair systems, but the process is slow. The woman is named Elara. She lives here in the Underhive with her son, Tavan. He is 5 years old, perhaps 6. They survive as they can. Elara works at a factory 12 hours a day for food and water. Tavan stays here alone. Why are you helping me? I ask one day. She shrugs. You were a wounded man. The Emperor teaches mercy. The Emperor, I laugh bitterly. The Emperor forgot people like you. Perhaps, she says, but I have not forgotten him. Time passes, a week perhaps 2. Sable is restored to 70%, enough to move, enough to leave. I gather myself and check my weapons. The Laz pistol is broken. The claws work. That will be enough. You are leaving? Elara asks. Yes. Back up to the spire. I nod. She looks at me for a long time, then asks. And us, will you tell anyone where we live? I stop. Yes, I should report it. Protocol. Any contact with locals during an operation must be registered. The arbiters will come. They will check papers, find violations, deport or execute. Or I could stay silent, but that is a risk. She has seen me, seen a hunter, seen Sable. If anyone learns, the whole operation could be exposed. Sable whispers, threat, eliminate. I step toward Elara. She stands calmly, does not retreat. You saved my life, I say. Yes. Why? She shrugs. Because I could, because it was right. Sable pulses, demanding. Threat, witness, eliminate. My hand lifts on its own. I do not control it, claws extend. Elara sees. Her eyes widen, but she does not step back. I understand, she says quietly. You have to. I saw you. I know what you are. No, you do not. I know a hunter from the spire, a killer. She pauses. But you are human. I saw that when you slept, when you raved, you suffered, you cried, you begged forgiveness. Shut up. No, she looks into my eyes. You have a soul somewhere under that machine. Sable roars. Eliminate now. My hand closes around her throat, lifts her, presses her to the wall. Elara wheezes, struggling for air. Her hands claw at my fingers. Useless. The armor is too strong. I squeeze harder. Tavan wakes, sees, and screams. "Mother!" He runs to me, strikes my leg with small fists. "Let her go. Let my mother go." Sable whispers, "Target vulnerable, finish." I look at Elara, her face turns blue, her eyes roll back. Then I look at Tavan. He is crying, striking, screaming. And something breaks. Not in Sable. In me. I see myself from outside, noble, chosen aristocrat, crushing the throat of the woman who saved my life, in front of her child. Holy Emperor! What am I doing? No. I open my fingers. Elara falls, coughing, gulping air. Sable panics. Error, protocol violated, threat not removed. Be silent, I say. For the first time. Sable falls silent, shocked. Tavan runs to his mother and clings to her. They both tremble. I stand above them, claws still extended. I am sorry, I say, the words catch. I am not used to apologizing. I am not, Elara looks at me, one hand on her throat. Bruises are already blooming. Go, she rasps, just go and never come back. I do not move. Go, she shouts, her voice breaking. I step back, one step, another. Sable tries again to seize control. Protocol demands. I said be silent. I turn and leave into the tunnel, quickly, without looking back. In the darkness of the tunnel, I stop and lean against the wall. My hands shake. My whole body shakes. I almost killed her. Almost killed the woman who saved me before her son. Not because she was an enemy. Not because she threatened the Imperium. Only because Sable ordered it. And I began to obey automatically, like a machine. What have I become? Sable remained silent, offended or bewildered. For the first time, I refused his command. I look at my hands. The claws retract slowly. On one finger is blood, her blood from the scratch on her throat. I wipe it against the wall, again and again, until it disappears. The shame does not disappear. The disgrace does not disappear. I walk onward through the tunnels, away from that place. For the first time in a long time, I feel something besides emptiness. Disgust. At myself, at what I have become. Sable made me stronger, faster, deadlier, but he stole something, something important. Humanity. Escaping the Underhive alone, wounded with a half-broken rig, is nearly impossible. But I escape. 3 days through tunnels, shafts, abandoned factories, avoiding people, hiding, creeping. Sable slowly recovers, using the last reserves, repairing critical systems, life support actuators. On the 3rd day, I reach the old shaft, the one we used to descend. I climb slowly, painfully. At last, the spire. I return through secret passages at night, when no one sees. The mentor waits for me in the dominion of the Sable Talon. We thought you were dead, he says. Almost. He inspects Sable, the damage, the scratches. What happened? Where were you? Surviving. He asks no more questions, a wise man. Naira is dead, he says. She died of her wounds. Kalen, gone like Merrick, said he could not do it anymore. The mentor sighs. 2 of us remain. And now we wait, recover, find new hunters. He looks at me. Or end it completely. I do not answer. The next week I spend in the spire, trying to return to normal life. Banquets, meetings, prayers, everything as before. But it does not work. Sable calls constantly, demands, wants blood, battle, life. And I try to ignore him, to distract myself, but I cannot. At one banquet I meet the young woman again, Lord Varro's daughter. She tries to speak with me. Were you away somewhere, she asks. You were absent for months. Performing duty. What duty? I look at her. She smiles innocently, naively. And I see Elara lying in blood that never fell, Tavin crying in the dark. I turn away. Forgive me, I must go. I leave quickly. That night I do not sleep. I lie in bed and stare at the ceiling. Sable is silent, waiting. I think of Elara, of Orin, of Naira, of all the people I killed or allowed to die. How many were there? Hundreds, thousands. Were they all enemies, or only victims of the system I protect? I do not know. And that destroys me. A year passes. I do not hunt. I refuse the mentor's offers. Sable suffers. Without battle, without adrenaline, he weakens, and I weaken with him. I begin to fall ill physically. Headaches, nausea, exhaustion. The physicians do not understand. They see symptoms, not the cause. Only the tech priest knows. Symbiosis, Morven says. You and Sable are one. He needs stimulation, purpose. Without it, he dies, and you die with him. How much time do I have? Months, perhaps a year. He looks at me with his glimmering brain. Either you return to the hunt, or you die. In the end, I choose not from desire but necessity. One last hunt, alone in my own mind, I call it that. One last hunt to prove to myself that I still can, that I am still alive. I do not know. The mentor finds a target. A chaos cult in the old cathedral. They plan a ritual to summon a demon or something worse. This is serious, he says. The Inquisition needs a rapid response on site. We can bring new hunters, begin again. I agree. We go there at night. The mentor, me, and 4 new hunters, young, untested, hungry for glory. The cathedral is vast, ancient, abandoned for centuries. Inside, darkness and chanting, in the language of chaos. We enter quietly, soundlessly. Inside are cultists, hundreds of them. They surround an altar. On it is a victim bound and screaming. The cult leader wears a robe and holds a staff. He recites a spell. The air shimmers. The warp opens. We attack. At first the battle goes well. We burst in firing, cultists fall. Then everything goes wrong. The sorcerer finishes the ritual. A portal opens. From it crawls a thing. A demon, lesser but deadly. It roars and attacks. One of the new hunters falls first. The demon tears his rig open. Literally, armor cracks meet inside. The second tries to run. The demon catches him and rips off his head. The third and fourth fire. The demon ignores the shots, leaps, kills them both. Then only we remain, the mentor and me. Run, he shouts, I will hold it. No, we leave together. But the mentor does not listen. He attacks the demon. Power blade meets claws, they fight. Seconds. The demon is stronger. It seizes the mentor and throws him into a wall. His rig cracks. Blood flows. Arvind, go now. I do not move. The demon turns toward me, eyes burning. It hisses, preparing to leap. And I freeze. Not from fear, from understanding. This is the end, here, now. Sable screams, panics, demands that I run. I do not run. The demon leaps. I wake somewhere. Not in the cathedral. The mentor is beside me, alive, barely. You idiot, he wheezes. You nearly killed us both. What happened? I activated a bomb, destroyed the portal. The demon returned to the warp, but the cathedral collapsed. We barely escaped. I look down at myself. Sable is destroyed. Most of him, the left arm gone, legs barely functioning, life support at its limit. I am dying. The mentor is silent, then nods. Yes, Sable can no longer sustain you. You will last a day, perhaps 2. But I do not die. The tech priests save me. They connect me to machines, replace organs, implant mechanisms. I become not man, not machine, something between, fastened into a sarcophagus, fed by tubes, breathing through an apparatus, living, yet not alive. 20 years have passed. I am still here, in the sarcophagus, bound and motionless. Sable stands nearby on a frame, repaired but useless. I can no longer wear him. The body is too weak, too broken. Every day, I look at him and remember the smell of blood, the taste of adrenaline, the feeling of life. Here in the spire among golden prayers, I am a shadow, a relic. My father died 10 years ago. I inherited the title but rule through representatives. I never appear at councils. I do not leave the chamber. Lord Arvind the Phantom. Sometimes old acquaintances come to me. Administrators, priests. They speak of business, of the planet, of wars somewhere far away. I listen and nod, but none of it matters to me. All I want is to return. Down there into the grime, into the darkness, where I was alive. But I cannot. Sable is silent, he no longer calls. Perhaps the machine spirit sleeps, perhaps it is dead, I do not know. I look at the helmet, scratched, broken, and whisper. Brothers, you wanted to know what it means to be blessed. To be an aristocrat. To live in the spire. I laugh and then cough. Blood spatters my lips. It is hell. Golden quiet dead hell. I was alive only down there, in blood and filth. Among those I was meant to despise, fear, and destroy. Instead, I became one of them. A predator, a killer, a monster. And that was the only time I was honest. I close my eyes, the apparatus breathes for me, the machine pumps blood, the tubes feed me. The Imperium is held together by people like me, not because we are strong, but because we are predators, because we never stop. We are not guardians, we are a meat grinder. And maybe that is why the Emperor still lives, because dying in such a grinder is a privilege. I look at Sable one last time and whisper, "Thank you, brother, for showing me the taste of life." Then silence. Only the hiss of machines, the drip of fluid, the ticking of clocks. I am Lord Arvind, hunter of the spire, and I am already dead.